Hello and welcome to the FatBoss Guide to Tectus on Mythic in Highmaul.
That's right, and this encounter somehow has become even more hectic than the heroic version.
We didn't think it was possible, but they've managed to do it somehow. It's really, really good fun though, and really it's just mainly about movement and just orchestrating what you're doing with your raid and stuff like that. There isn't like a shit ton of new mechanics. It's mainly that the old mechanics have changed in one way or another and you just need to deal with them slightly differently.
Now before we go into the mechanics, if you do not know anything about this fight on normal or heroic, it will save us some time if you go watch that video now. There's an annotation up on the screen. You can learn all the old mechanics and you can see exactly how this fight is done in those difficulties. It will save us some time. Now for this encounter, you do want to bring 2 tanks, 3 healers, and a mixture of ranged and melee DPS, and it is good to have a bit of both. So as Alex said, there isn't really any major new mechanics, however there are just a couple of changes to the old ones. Now as for the adds, the Berserker and the Earth Rapper, instead of them just spawning only in the phase 1, so once Tectus is dead they'll no longer spawn, they actually spawn throughout the entire fight in Mythic, which means you have to deal with them all the time. So the Earth Rapper, it's still important that you stun him on his gift, and ideally you should kill him before he does his frontal cone ability. This frontal cone ability in Mythic pretty much one-hits, so yeah, that's bad. As for the big guy, it's actually super important that you stun his charge. It's not got that quick of a cast time, it's enough for you to react to it. You want to assign who's stunning what mob, and when this guy does do his charge, stun it, make sure it doesn't hit the raid, and you should be absolutely fine. And this guy, the big one's probably your second priority. You want to kill the little one first. Now, in Heroic, the ranged DPS probably didn't kill this ad. And to be honest, they've got kind of a decent reason, because you pretty much have to play this fight as a ranged or a healer in a bird's eye view, because the camera on this fight is fucking shocking.
Yeah, because you've got all the walls behind you and the earthen pillars also create a line of sight so you can't move your camera through that. You will struggle to target these ads. So what you can do is make either a target macro or you can try and manually switch to them. Generally what I do as a ranged DPS is just cleave them down with like big cleave abilities such as barrage and things like that. But if you are needed to switch to them, make sure that you do set up a macro or anything like that just so you can destroy them. But to be honest, melee should be able to do it by themselves.
Now for these ads, when they do spawn on Mythic, because they do need to die so quick, if you have Death Knights, you should assign Death Grips because it just helps so fucking much. And if they spawn really far away, Hunters, try and misdirect them towards your tanks. It just makes picking them up a whole lot easier. Now in terms of boss mechanics, there's only one new thing that's really been added, and that is when Tectus, or when his medium shards, the 2 shards, when they die, they'll actually return back with 20% health, which means you need to then kill them again and then they'll finally go away. They have all the same abilities that they normally do, however the energy generation they have is not affected by their health percent, so you don't really need to worry about these guys doing earthen pillars unless you just don't attack them at all for like a couple of minutes, which you don't do. You want to kill these off as quick as you possibly can.
Now, because they do have 20% HP as well, they are in execute range, and generally they just die very, very quickly. Just make sure you do, because they are hitting your tanks for the normal amount that they would do. So if you can just kill these ads as soon as possible, you'll be more than happy.
Now, the Crystal Lamp Barrage works the exact same way on Mythic. It just hurts more, unsurprisingly. However, you need to deal with this in Mythic slightly different to what you did on Heroic. In Heroic mode, if you followed our tactics, or you're using pretty much the global tactic of just kiting it around the boss, that's not really what you want to do here. You don't want to move it around in a banana shape. You just want to kite it directly to the left as you look now from a ranged perspective. You just want to run it away in a straight line, and we'll talk more about this in a moment. As for the fractures, they are really deadly. Melee, move the fuck away from them, and occasionally you'll get them on range. Range, move the fuck away from them. And Tectonic Upheaval hurts like a bitch. It does so much more damage on Mythic. And of course, Tectonic Upheaval is the only time that the big and the medium Tectuses can actually die. The little ones that spawn in the last phase, they still die once they reach 0% health, so you don't need to worry about them. And of course, if you don't kill the boss while he's casting the Tectonic Upheaval, he will actually be healed for a percentage of his health. So you need to make sure the boss dies within the Tectonic Upheaval. And if he does ever heal himself in any phase in this fight, you can pretty much call a wipe, because that's it, you're pretty much screwed.
Now with the earthen pillar, this still one-hits you and leaves a giant pillar in the fucking ground, but it does spawn slightly quicker than it does on normal or heroic mode. So moving from it, you don't have as much time, so make sure that you're quick on your movement. Now these earthen pillars will not only spawn when the boss is at 25% energy, but also now 50% energy. So really you're going to be getting double the amount of pillars that you would normally do on even normal heroic, so you got to be aware of that. The one big change to earthen pillars, however, is that they do now last forever. Not just 1 minute as they do on normal heroic, they last throughout the entire fight. Now, because of this does leave you a very limited room, and because of phase 2 and phase 3, where there's a shit ton more pillars, you're just going to run out of space. So really, if you misplace a pillar, you can pretty much call a wipe because you're just going to run out of place, you can't kite the clouds in the right place, and it's just going to get messy and you're going to die.
So just to reinforce what Alex just said, if you misplace a pillar in this fight, or if you're using this tactic and you put the pillar in the wrong place, you can almost certainly call a wipe. This whole fight, if you place the pillars correctly, it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot to this fight. It's relatively simple, especially if you've got the DPS requirements to kill the bosses early within tectonic upheavals. This fight is a joke, providing you put the pillars in the right place. And that's pretty much what we're going to spend the rest of the video talking about.
So for phase 1, when you got big Tectus, what you want to do is have the raid stacked in the corner right by the entrance of the room. And you would have Tectus against the wall with the melee on the other side, so when the clouds spawn, they won't get fucked over by the clouds. Now when the clouds do come in, you do run them along the line, you just run them from the right to the left hand side from the range point of view, and just keep them in a very, very clear line. If you do need to run across that again, you can be just slightly behind the line and it will still follow that line. So that's all you need to do, run along that and you'll be absolutely fine. It'll keep them nice and clumped together and you have loads of space.
Now when the first pillar comes in at 25% energy, you want to try and put in the corner as much as you possibly can, so make sure that almost all your ranged and healers are stood in that location. You will then want to move in front of it, and then shortly afterwards you'll get a cloud. Now this cloud, at this point, you want to kind of kite it along the line like you have with the previous ones. However, another pillar is due pretty soon, and what can actually happen if that person is kiting a line and the new pillar comes in, it can actually target that player, which then completely screws up the fight, because it could potentially put a pillar right in the middle of the room, and it's just messy. You might as well wipe at that point. It's extremely unlikely,
yeah,
because it's one player against 10, but even so, it can happen. So what you can do to prevent this is that you can have that person with the cloud, instead of moving out to the left, they can move like 5 yards in front of the raid, and you can put a bop on that target, and the cloud will actually end before the bop does. So as soon as the cloud debuff is gone, that person with the bop can then move back into the raid, and then you'll have the pillar spawn. It's at this point you have your entire raid move to the left of the initial pillar, and then the boss will start casting his first tectonic upheaval.
Now during this tectonic upheaval, you do not really want to use any healing cooldowns, because later on you're going to have 2 tectonic upheavals at the same time, and you really need to save everything for that. So during this tectonic upheaval, Tectus needs to die pretty goddamn quickly, because if you get like 6 or 7 ticks of it, people might start dying. If you do have some personal cooldowns that are on quite a short cooldown, you might want to use them at this point, but generally Tectus will die relatively quickly. So as soon as Tectus has died, he will be coming back as a hollowed version of himself at 20% health, and of course he'll spawn his 2 shards. At this point you want to make sure that you do kill the big Tectus as quickly as you possibly can, and then move on to the 2 smaller ones. Now while big Tectus is up, you will get 3 clouds in relatively quick succession, so make sure that you do move very, very quickly, because if these get misplaced, you're just going to fuck over everyone.
Once you've killed the hollowed version of Tectus, of course you'll only be left with the 2 shards, so you won't get as many clouds. However, it is fundamental that these 2 mobs have the same amount of health as much as possible. You want to keep them completely even, and of course the reason for that is because you want their energy regen to be exactly the same, because you want both pillars to spawn at the exact same time. If the entire raid is stacked in one location, a pillar will spawn directly underneath them, and if another pillar comes in the exact same time, it will always spawn in front of the raid rather than the left hand side of the raid. Why this happens, we have no fucking idea, but that's how it works.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but it's very, very beneficial, because of course you don't really need forward space when you're in the range group. You really need the space to the left of you, so having all of that area more free because there's less pillars there is very, very good. So it's very important that you do keep the mobs at the same health, so you just have much more space to deal with the pillars.
Now after the second set of those pillars, you might want to start kiting the clouds directly upwards rather than to the left, because you're not really going to have that much room anymore. However, just make sure you've got space along the wall so you actually have room to run back. You don't need to worry about how well these are placed, because they'll actually despawn before phase 3, and that's where things are actually important.
So as soon as both Tectuses are about to start casting tectonic upheaval, this is really where you want to pop Bloodlust and just kill them as soon as possible. And as soon as they start casting tectonic upheaval, pop every single healing cooldown that you can possibly pop. Absolutely everything. This is really the only part of the fight where there's going to be a ton of raid damage, because the rest of it, if anyone in the raid takes damage, they're instantly dead. It's all tank healing in phase 3, so just make sure you pop everything that you have, all your tranks, all your barriers, everything, just to get through this tectonic upheaval, and you should be absolutely fine with it.
Now, as soon as phase 3 starts, you'll get the 2 shards that have just died, they'll reanimate, and then you'll have 8 motes as well. And this is where shit gets serious. Now, it's absolutely vital at this point that the entire raid is stacked on one single location. And as soon as the first cloud debuff comes in, you want everyone to run as one single clump of players hugging the wall all the way into the far corner. And while you're doing this, you're going to be kiting a load of red shit with you, and providing everyone is stacked up, there's no way that anyone can get hit by it.
The reason that you do this is because really you're about to get 10 staggered cloud debuffs on top of you, and if one person goes on ahead, you suddenly haven't got any room and everyone else is going to die. So if everyone does move all at once, as if everyone's got cloud, you're all going to be kiting it away and you should be absolutely fine. Make sure you do pop your aspects of the foxes at this point, because really you want to be doing as much AoE damage while you are running around the edges, so that way you can maximize your DPS.
Now once you have moved as an entire group to the far corner, you're just about to have all the pillars from all the 8 moats coming out, which is potentially 16 or something pillars. So this is where shit gets really, really fucking scary. So what you want to do is just all be stacked in a corner. As soon as the pillars spawn, you want to use any movement speed increases you've got and just move the hell out of there. But try and keep to walls. You want these pillars to spawn near walls. You want to have as much room in the middle of the room as you possibly can.
Really at this point it's all about survival of the fittest a little bit as well. Maybe a couple of people will die, but as soon as all these pillars have spawned, the ads really should be dead or very, very close to dying. So assuming that you can get through this pillar phase and the ads are very close to dead, you should be fine. If they are still on high health, well, have fun being spread out with 10 bloody cloud debuffs going out again. You won't be able to deal with it very, very easily.
You'll probably be dead at that point.
Exactly.
So yeah, you need to look at killing them pretty much before they kill you. Now, an important thing in this phase for tanks, you do not want to split these mobs up so you have half of them on one tank and half of them in the other tank. It's just not realistic, and it's not good for damage. What you need to do is have it all on one target, but that means that one tank is getting hit by 10 mobs, and he gets absolutely fucking battered. So as soon as these spawn at the start of the phase 3, we chain cooldowns on the tank for pretty much the entire phase. He has a constant sacrifice on him. You'll have the pain suppressions coming in, you'll have the iron barks coming in, and you just want to set them up so he has cooldowns for as long as possible, basically, as well as his own personal cooldowns. And that's what you want to do. And really, he shouldn't die if you do have a shit ton of cooldowns running on him. And that is the fight. The last phase is actually really easy, providing you do it the way that we've just explained and that you do stay as one single group. It's just choreographing the rest of the fight. It is so incredibly important that you set up these pillars at the start of the fight, just so you have lots of room towards the end. And of course, at the end, if you have like loads of AoE DPS, that is absolutely amazing, but it is like a bit of a balance. You can't just bring AoE DPS, because the earlier parts of the fight, you do need to be able to kill the bosses before the tectonic upheaval kills you or before they heal after it. So they do need to die during that. But that's the encounter.
It's really bloody fun.
It's
an
very
amazing
fun.
encounter.
And it's very short as well, which is nice. So.
Yeah, so at least if you wipe, you just go straight back into it because it's not a bloody 15-minute long encounter, Margot, you fuck. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure you do give it a like. It helps us out a lot. And of course, if you'd like to see any of our other Mythic guides, then make sure that you click up on the annotations you see on your screen now, and that'll take you straight to those videos.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.